Good morning, dear students. Today in this lecture talk, I shall discuss basic requirements and techniques of plant tissue culture. In the previous class, I spoke about introduction to plant tissue culture. Today, we are going through basic requirements and techniques of plant tissue culture. Okay, the main requirements of plant tissue culture are laboratory organization. Okay, the laboratory design is very important, and the laboratory compulsory should fulfill some of the parameters. And next most important thing is culture media or culture medium, then aseptic conditions. Okay, all these parameters play a very important role in plant tissue culture condition. Okay. Plant tissue culture is to be carried out essentially under aseptic conditions, right? So the overall design of the laboratory must focus on the maintenance of aseptic conditions. Okay, this is very, very important and critical part to maintain this aseptic condition. Secondly, the worker is also required to have proper knowledge of operating various equipments like pH meter, weighing balance, laminar airflow, autoclave, microscope, and many more. Okay, while performing the tissue culture experiments, there must present the first aid kits and fire extinguishers in the laboratory to avoid any kind of accident. Okay. In addition, proper attention should be given while handling the toxic chemicals, and all the chemicals should be kept in a correct labeled containers and bottles. Okay. Next, here you can see some of the very important equipments which you could see in the general laboratory of plant tissue culture. Autoclave. This works on the principle of steam under pressure, right? 121 degrees Celsius, 15 lbs pounds per inch for 15 minutes, right? Then weighing balance, we require this one to weigh each and every chemicals like macronutrients, micronutrients, then vitamins, hormones, carbon source like sucrose, then agar, right? We need the weighing balance. Then magnetic stirrer, right? We need this particular magnetic stirrer to stir the chemicals. And even sometimes we can also get the hot plate with magnetic stirrer. Okay, this hot plate with magnetic stirrer is used for effective stirring and mixing of fluid samples. Okay, the mixing is made easier and faster by heating the samples under study during the stirring operation. Okay, so instead of stirring by using the glass rod, we can go for this magnetic stirrer, which stirs very uniformly all the chemicals. While preparing a mess medium or any culture medium, first one chemical is dissolved, then only the next chemicals will be added. Okay, then we need pH meter. Okay, a pH meter is a scientific instrument that measures the hydrogen ion concentration, right, or pH in a solution, indicating its acidity or alkalinity. And it is necessary equipment for plant tissue culture lab, as the media required for plant tissue culture should be slightly acidic. Usually how much you'll be maintaining? That is 5.8. Okay, and it becomes very imperative to set the pH of the medium for making the nutrients available for plant tissues. If the pH is not adjusted properly, what happens? Sometimes the solid media won't become solidified. Okay, and that will be in semi-solid condition, and even plant cells, tissues, organs are unable to assimilate the chemicals which are present in the nutrient medium. So the adjustment of hydrogen ion concentration is very, very important. Okay, to adjust hydrogen concentration in tissue culture condition or at research level, we should not use pH meter to adjust this particular hydrogen ion concentration. Now coming to the laminar airflow, this laminar airflow, we are going to place that in the culture transfer room. Okay, this wherever you place this particular airflow, no, we can say that as the aseptic chamber. Okay, in this laminar airflow, you can find the UV light, and then another one you find the ordinary tube light. While working, you need to switch on the ordinary tube light, and when you're before working, you need to switch on the UV light for 10 to 15 minutes for the surface sterilization of the working platform of laminar airflow. Laminar airflow works on the principle HEPA, that is high efficiency particulate air. This filter removes particles larger than 0.3 microns, which will be totally free from any kind of fungal or bacterial contaminants. And also that will be very ultra clean air can be absorbed over there. Okay, so air which will be sterilized by the laminar airflow fibrous filter. And then we need light meter. Okay, this light meter we are going to place that in the culture room. Okay, culture room, we can see this particular light meter to adjust this particular photoperiodism. Okay, we need that particular light meter. The glasswares. Okay, we are using in this particular tissue culture condition, most of the glasswares are made up of borosilicate or pyrex glasswares we are using. Then measuring cylinders also we are using borosilicate. Then forceps, needles, spatulas we need. And even we need in the laboratory refrigerator. Why do we need this refrigerator? Refrigerator and deep freezer to store chemicals and stock solutions. We need this deep freezer. Okay, incubator, if you require, you can place okay, you can use this particular incubator in the general laboratory, otherwise not necessary incubator. Then hot air oven, this hot air oven works on the principle of dry heat sterilization. Here you are going to maintain temperature 160 degrees Celsius for 2 hours or 170 degrees Celsius for 1 hour can be done. Okay, here sterilization, this particular dry heat sterilization which destroys the microorganisms by causing coagulation of proteins. Okay, and even the hot air oven, these doors which are made up of insulated double-walled cabinet. Microscopes you require during some of the observation of the cells, tissues, and flower parts. No, that time you need this microscope. Then rotary shaker during cell suspension culture you need, and the spirit lamps which comes under the flame sterilization. Okay, we need this particular spirit lamp in the laminar airflow chamber. Then we need micropipettes to add growth regulators in microliters. So these are some of the very important tools which we require in the plant tissue culture condition. Okay, the size of tissue culture lab and type of equipment used mainly depends upon the nature of the work to be undertaken and the funds available. Okay, a standard tissue culture laboratory should provide facilities for washing and storage of glassware, then plastic waste, then media preparation, then sterilization, then storage of nutrient media, pre-treatment of plant material or explant and inoculation of explants, maintenance of cultures under controlled temperature, light and humidity. Then after the maintenance of cultures, one has also observed particular culture, observation of cultures and collecting the data and photograph. That is very, very important during the research work. Okay, then at the end, acclimatization of in vitro developed plants will be done. The overall design must focus on maintaining the aseptic condition. In every instance, the aseptic condition is very, very important. Okay, that may be from the beginning, from the washing of to up to acclimatization condition. The aseptic condition is very, very important. You know the meaning of aseptic, right? Septic means sepsis, contamination. A means absence of contamination, minor amount of contamination which brings the loss of that particular tissue culture economy. Okay. Now let us understand here some of the major parameters in the laboratory design development. There must compulsory media preparation room in the tissue culture chamber. Okay, then need culture room, then dissection room, or sterilization room we need, then storage area, then preparation and handling room, then equipments and apparatus room, then greenhouse. Okay, these are some of the very important parameters in the design of the laboratory. Okay, now let us understand here aseptic conditions. Maintenance of aseptic condition is the most critical and difficult aspect of in vitro culturing experiments. Okay, Aseptic condition mean the conditions free from any type of microorganisms. Okay, so has to prevent the loss of experiment by contamination. Very minor contamination in the tissue culture condition will spoil the entire regenerated plant system. Okay, for this sterilization, that is complete removal or killing of microorganisms, can be done by using physical agent, chemical agent, even the gaseous agent. Okay, the most common contaminants in culture are fungi and bacteria. Okay, then here a number of media have been devised for specific tissues and organs growth and development. To name few media like MS media, that is Brashage and Skoog medium, LS, Linsmed and Skoog medium, B5, that can also be known as Gambrook's medium, White's medium, then Nischt medium. Apart from all this, we also have another medium that is known as basal medium, which is devoid of hormones. Okay, here rooting hormones and shooting hormones won't be added in this cattle basal medium. Here to check how the explant regenerate in the absence of hormones, to check we are using this particular basal medium. Okay. Then Brashage and Skoog medium is most extensively used for the vegetative propagation of many plant species in vitro, which has given a very good result. Okay, the pH of the media is also important, that affects both the growth of plants and activity of plant growth regulators. Whereas in tissue culture condition, usually we maintain the pH that is 5.4 to 5.8. Both the solid and liquid medium can be used for culturing plant cells, tissues, and organs. Any composition of tissue culture medium which consists of macronutrients, micronutrients, okay, then vitamins, hormones, the amino acids, sugar, and agar will be there. Okay, hormones and the nitrogen sources has profound effects on the resistance of the initial expand that must be provided properly in a proper concentration. Okay, plant growth regulators play an essential role in determining development of plant cells and tissues in the culture medium. Now let us go through again this particular laboratory organization. At least to conclude about the laboratory organization, we need compulsory 3 separate rooms should be available. 1 general room for washing, storage, and media preparation. Okay, whereas here we'll be going through washing of all the glasswares, plasticwares used. Okay, all that will be done in this particular general area, and even the storage of the chemicals, glasswares will be done, and even the media preparation will be done here with the necessary equipments like weighing balance must be there, pH meter must be there, while preparing the nutrient media to check the pH. All that must be taken care. Then second room, that is containing laminar airflow or clean air cabinets for the dissection of the plant tissues and subculturing. Okay, that will be done in the culture transfer room, okay, or aseptic chamber. And the third room to incubate cultures, where you are going to incubate the cells, tissues, culture bottle under controlled light, temperature, and humidity. And all this particular second room and third room. Second room, that is culture transfer room or aseptic chamber, and the culture room are all compulsory. That should be made of fitted with the double doors. That is automatic double door must be there to avoid the contamination. And in the culture room or incubation room, the temperature maintained that will be 25 plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius by using AC. Okay, in the tissue, that particular tissue culture room, we can see the hygrometer to check the humidity of that particular room, and thermometer to check the temperature. Okay, then racks fitted with the cool fluorescent tube, and those 2 particular racks which are fitted with the photo periodically controlled automatic timer will be fixed. Some cases in the tissue culture lab condition, we need some dark room. This dark room can be created by using the black curtains. Okay, in the incubation room, our culture room should contain a Culture observation table, if possible, that should be provided with the binoculars or stereosome microscope, and then there must be compulsory adequate light source. It means we can use their artificial light source. Additionally, a greenhouse facility is required for hardening of in vitro plantlets. Okay, for commercial setup, a more elaborate setup is required. Now let us go through here laboratory organization. Okay, here you can see this is the general laboratory where you can say this as the washing area or media preparation room. Okay, in the washing area, all the washing of the glasswares will be done here. Okay, then we can also see the storage area. In this this particular general laboratory only, there must be presence of proper storage area to store all the chemicals and washed glasswares. Okay, washing area, storage area, and media preparation room that will be done in this particular general laboratory. And in this general laboratory, you can find the hot air oven, okay, and autoclave, weighing balance, pH meter, and distilled water unit. Okay, here distilled water unit is very, very important. What is this distilled water? Distilled water is water from which impurities have been removed through distillation. Okay, distillation involves boiling the water and then condensing the steam into a clean container, and that what we have collected, that will be used as a distillation water or distilled water. Okay, in the market, various glass and steel water distillation units are available. Any one that can be purchased. Even hot plate with magnetic stirrer or just a magnetic stirrer that will be kept in this particular general laboratory. Okay, even the microscope also we can place in this particular general laboratory. And even if we require, we can also keep in the general laboratory the trolley for carrying hot media flasks and containers. Okay, then in the general laboratory, there must be the presence of cupboards for the storage of the chemicals and washed glasswares. And one more very important thing, in the general laboratory, we need to place refrigerator or deep freezer to store chemicals and stock solution. Okay, so this is all about the general laboratory. Then coming to here, the culture transfer room. In this culture transfer room, there must be laminar airflow. Okay, yeah, I have already told you about the laminar airflow, which works on the principle of HEPA, high efficiency particulate air, which blows the air which is ultra clean air and which is free from fungal and bacterial contaminants. It means to sterilize the air, we have a laminar airflow, right? In the laminar airflow, there will be two tube lights will be there, right? One will be the UV light, other one will be the ordinary tube light. While working, you must switch on only the ordinary tube light. Before you begin the work in the laminar air chamber, the UV light must be on for 20 to 30 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. So in this particular culture transfer room or aseptic chamber, we can also see the glass bead sterilizers. Okay, the glass bead sterilizer is kept in the laminar airflow and is used for the sterilization of instruments like forceps, scalpel holders, blades, and other surgical tools. Will be kept for minimum 60 seconds. Okay, 60 seconds in the bead sterilizer, and that will be sterilized. In case if we don't have a glass bead sterilizer, we can also use this particular Bunsen burner or spirit lamp can also be used. There we can go through flame sterilization of the forceps, scalpel holders, and blades on mouth of the conical flask and mouth of the wide mouth culture bottle that can be done. Although we can see in the aseptic chamber. Okay. Then next coming to the culture room. Okay, if this culture room is used to keep plant cell cultures and their optimum temperature, light, and humidity. Okay, this room should comprise us with air conditioner, and air conditioner is used to provide optimum temperature condition. Generally for plant cell cultures, 25 plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius is very optimum in this case. Okay, then in this culture room, we can see the culture racks and tube lights. The culture racks can be prepared as per requirement. Okay, the artificial lighting which you use usually 1000 lux will be used in this particular culture racks. And here in this culture racks, the tube lights which are fitted with the automatic timer, which maintains the photo period of 14 hours day and 8 hours night by switching the tube lights on and off at the same time. Okay, in the culture room, we can also see thermometer to check the temperature of that particular room. Okay, and in the culture room, you can also see one more instrument, that is hygrometer, to check the humidity. So this is all about the laboratory organization and the three rooms. One is general laboratory, other one is the aseptic chamber, or we can say culture transfer room. Another one is the culture room. Okay, hope I made myself clear to you about the laboratory organization. Here you can see general steps in the plant tissue culture technique. When you go to any tissue culture techniques, first we are going to do the selection of the plant. The plant must be compulsory healthy and that should be free from any kind of microorganisms infection. Okay, isolation of explant will be done. Then sterilization of the explant, that is nothing but the pre-treatment by using surface sterilizing agents. Then inoculation of the explant will be done. Then incubation in the incubation chamber. Then initiation of the callus or initiation of the organogenesis. Okay, that is shoot regeneration or maybe a root regeneration, or we can also go through the callogenesis. Once done, next we'll be going through subculturing. Okay, after subculturing, again we can go for the regeneration. Once viable plantlets are regenerated, then subjected for the hardening condition by transferring of plantlets to greenhouse or open field condition. Okay, so these are the basic general steps in the plant tissue culture condition. So let us go through one by one the particular steps. Here, the first step, as I told in the previous slide, selection and sterilization of explant. Here, suitable explant is selected and is then excised from the donor plant. Okay, then explant sterilized using disinfectants. Okay, disinfectants in the sense, in the beginning, the selected explant will be washed with the tap water, then with the detergent like T-Pol, just 1 drop of the T-Pol, then the surfacing agent. And at the end of all the treatment with the surfacing agent, at the end, you must compulsory rinse all the explants by using the distilled water. Okay, this distilled water, which will remove all the tracer chemicals which are present on the surface of the explant. It means whatever the surfacing agent you used there for the rinsing of that particular explant, no, those chemicals also must be removed. That can be done by using at the end of all the pre-treatment with the surfacing agent, that will be washed with the distilled water. Just keep in your mind, in pre-treatment at the end, always the explant will be washed with again with the distilled water two to thrice. Then second, here preparation of and sterilization of culture medium. A suitable culture medium is prepared with special attention towards the objectives of culture and type of explant to be cultured. Objectives of culture means whether you are willing to regenerate that explant for the shoot, or maybe a root regeneration or callus formation, or both together, both root and shoot. That is your objective. Based on that objective, one will design the tissue culture nutrient medium. Okay, prepared culture medium is transferred into sterilized vessels and then sterilized in the autoclave, because without autoclave we cannot use any kind of medium. Okay, this autoclave which means the sterilization process. How the expands are given treatment, no, for the sterilization purpose, like here also on the glassware and culture medium are subjected to the autoclave. Autoclave, which works on the principle steam under pressure, right? With steam which have the high penetrating capacity than any kind of heat. Once autoclave is done, then next we will be ready for the inoculation of the explant. Sterilized explant, sterilized means pre-treatment, we did here, no? That pre-treated explant is inoculated or transferred on the suitable culture medium under aseptic conditions in the laminar airflow, okay, cabinet by switching on the HEPA filter and with the switching on with the ordinary tube light. Then coming to the incubation. Okay, The culture are then incubated in the culture room, where appropriate conditions of light, temperature, and humidity are provided for successful culturing. Okay. Okay, during the incubation, we'll go and observe, and once all the nutrients exhausted, and once all the plants utilize the nutrient medium, okay, then after 1 month, that particular explant, 1 or 2 months, that explant will be transferred into the fresh culture medium for the further growth and development. So, in the incubation chamber, we need to observe, record that particular growth and development of the explant. Then we can go through the subculturing. Here, cultured cells are transferred to a fresh nutrient medium to obtain the further plantlets. Then, ultimately, we'll be going through transfer of plantlets to the greenhouse or in to this particular net house. Okay, that will be that in vitro plantlets are first washed from the culture. When we take that from the culture room, no, it will be washed. Then that will be subjected for the potting in a very small pots by using some of the vermiculture, okay, or by using coca pit, we can go for the potting. And here these particular plants are kept in a glass house up to flowering stage. After the hardening process, that is after 4 to 6 weeks of acclimatization of plantlet to the environment, or preparing the plants for natural growth environment, plants are irrigated frequently. Okay, then growth and initiation observed regularly, and then development. Once the development of cuticle and stomata functioning occurs, then that particular plants will be further transferred to the field condition. Okay, so here this is all about the transfer of plantlets, that is from the lab to the greenhouse condition and then to the field condition. Next, here you can make out here the general steps of inoculation of the explant. Okay, first here you can see this is the mother plant. Okay, you are going to select the mother plant and transfer it in the beaker. Then first always you need to wash with the tap water. After tap water, you are going to rinse with the detergent T-Pol, 1 drop of detergent T-Pol, then by using the surface sterilizing agent. That is about the pre-treatment of the explant. Okay, the success of the plant tissue culture also depends upon the pre-treatment of the explant. This pre-treated explant will be transferred to the aseptic chamber or culture transfer room. In the culture transfer room, again the explant will be subjected for the surface sterilization. Okay, and then by using this scalpel, their explants will be sliced, and then in front of the flame, the explants will be inoculated into the culture medium for the further regeneration of shoot or maybe a root, or together both shoot and the root. Okay, so this is all about the in general inoculation of the explant. Here you can see the explant where pre-treatment can be seen. Once pre-treatment is done, then explants will be inoculated into the culture bottle. Okay, while inoculation compulsory, we need to wear hand gloves, then head mask and mouth mask. Okay, and we need to be very careful. We need to maintain the aseptic condition. Before starting the work, one has to wash their hands by using 70% alcohol, because hands of the operator must be totally free from any kind of the contamination. And even some of the laminar airflow, we can see this kind of partition. Okay, to avoid the contamination, okay, we are using this type of partition. Only hands of the operator will be inside. Okay, and then the head must be compulsory outside the laminar airflow. Okay, here you can see the aseptic chamber or culture transfer room. As I told, in the aseptic chamber, there will be the presence of this laminar airflow. Okay, and the trolley will be there to carry the culture vessels and also to carry the hot media culture bottles. Okay, here you can see the inoculation of the explants is done under the influence of laminar airflow. Okay, this is the tissue culture room, or you can say this is the culture room or incubation room. What's the purpose of using this culture room? This culture room is used to keep plant cell cultures under optimum temperature, light, and humidity condition. Okay, as you can see, this is the cool fluorescent tube lights, which are fixed with the automatic timer. To enter both this particular aseptic chamber and the tissue culture room, footwear must be outside. Hands of the operator must be compulsory rinsed with the 70% alcohol and exposed to the hand dryer. Okay, and separate cloth and footwear must be kept. If you're running a business, if you're an entrepreneur of this plant tissue culture, then it's better to take very all the care. Okay, many precaution measures one has to imbibe during this particular tissue culture experiments. Here you can see this is the UV tube light. Before you begin your any inoculation of experiments in microbiology or plant biotechnology or animal biotechnology or industrial biotechnology, compulsory UV light must be on for 15 to 20 minutes. This UV light radiation, which is going to kill all the microorganisms and bring the surface sterilization of the working platform of the laminar airflow. Okay, then we should switch on this UV light, then switch off this UV light and switch on the ordinary tube light, then you can start your work. Here you can make out the forces were exposed to the flame. Okay, this process is known as incineration. Okay, and here the particular scalpel or blade and spatula, all this will be dipped in the 70% alcohol and exposed to the flame. Okay, instead of doing this particular methodology of exposing to the flame, nowadays we have steri bead sterilizer. That time not necessary to expose to that particular flame, directly just keep for 60 seconds in the steri bead sterilizer and take out, cool that the surgical tools, then you can start with your inoculation process. Okay, here you can see the hygrometer and thermometer and AC controlling remote can be seen over here. This is the inoculation of the expand. Here the leaf disc were inoculated, so we can say this as leaf disc culture. Okay, here you can see the culture racks with the tube lights, and to this tube lights photomatic timer will be fixed AC. And here you can make out some of the cultures. If they require more dark condition, by using the black curtains we can provide the more dark condition. Okay, if they need light, you can give that particular light. So this light photoperiodism, which will be maintained by the automatic timer. Here you can see this is the greenhouse condition. Okay, a greenhouse or a net house is required only in such cases where the in vitro regenerated plants are transferred from lab to land. Okay, in the initial phases of establishment of the cultures, this facility is not at all required. Vitro-derived plants need to be gradually hardened to field conditions. Okay, plant hardening is usually carried out under greenhouse that ensures high survival of the tissue cultured plants in the field. Okay, here greenhouse can be of net, okay, or maybe glass, or maybe polyethylene films, or sheets of polycarbonate or acrylic can be used. Okay, here in this greenhouse condition, we need to provide appropriate light shading systems can be achieved with supplementary lighting. And if we require, we can also supplement with drip irrigation system. Misting and fogging can be installed if required. Okay, so this is about the greenhouse condition. And let us also go through what all the sterilization we are going to do in the plant tissue culture condition. Okay, in this particular case, as I already discussed about the dry heat treatment, this dry heat treatment which will be given by the hot air oven. Okay, that is dry heat sterilization, which is 160 degrees Celsius for 2 hours or 170 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. Here, the instrument should be dry before sterilization, since water will interfere with this particular process of hot air oven dry heat sterilization. That's why whenever you keep any glasswares in the hot air oven, compulsory the water must be removed from that particular glassware. This dry heat sterilization, which destroys the microorganisms by causing coagulation of proteins. Next, flame sterilization. As I told you, this flame sterilization is exposing the forceps, scalpel holders, and blades and other surgical tools to the flame. That is the flame sterilization. Apart from that, where we are going to observe the flame sterilization, when you inoculate the explant to the culture bottle, that time the mouth of the conical flask will be exposed to the flame, or wide mouth culture bottle that will be exposed to the flame. Okay. It means before you plug the cap of the tissue culture bottle, and after both the time you are going to expose the bottle to the flame. That is also flame sterilization. Why we are doing that one? To minimize the contamination. Next, autoclaving, that is steam under pressure, which play a very important role, right? Which is one of the physical sterilizing agent which sterilize the culture medium and some of the plastic waste which are able to survive with high temperature and pressure, right? That will be kept in the autoclave. Then coming to filter sterilization. Okay, here when we take here the filter sterilization, this filter sterilization we can recall here with the laminar airflow. Laminar airflow which brings the filter sterilization, because whatever we say now that HEPA, high efficiency particulate air, that HEPA is actually a fibrous filter. That fibrous filter which suck the air which is present in that particular enclosed chamber and blows the sterile air which is ultra pure. Okay, then that will be free from any kind of fungal or bacterial contaminants. Okay, so that's why this particular a laminar airflow system which play a very important role as filter sterilization, which removes the larger particles and then makes sure that the air which is from the microns of dust. Then apart from autoclave, we can also recall here a filter sterilization, for example, membrane filters. Where are we using this membrane filters? For example, some of the chemicals, hormones like GA3, that is gibberellic acid 3, zeatin, or abscisic acid, and some chemicals like urea and certain vitamins and enzymes that should not be subjected to higher temperature. Okay, such compounds are filter sterilized by passing their solution through a membrane filter of lower pore size, which is going to provide the solution which is free from any kind of microorganisms. Okay, so in two examples are mentioned here for filter sterilization. One is the laminar airflow fibrous filter, another is the membrane filter. Membrane filter where we are using to heat sensitive compounds. Okay, some of the heat sensitive compounds we are using the membrane filters. Because of the hormones, we cannot keep that in the culture medium and we can place that in the autoclave. No, such type of chemicals or heat sensitive chemicals will be filter sterilized. Then wiping with 70% alcohol. Okay, the surfaces that is not possible to be sterilized by any other methods of physical and particular radiation methods. No, that time we are using this particular wiping with 70% alcohol. Where are we are using this 70% ethanol? Platform of the laminar airflow chamber, then hands of the operator or worker. Okay, and even to wipe the glasswares, we are using this particular 70% alcohol, which are sterilized by wiping them thoroughly with 70% alcohol. And then this alcohol is allowed to evaporate. So that is about the 70% ethanol. How to prepare this? 70 ml of ethanol and rest amount will be the distilled water. Then coming to the surface sterilization. Okay, the surface sterilization is very, very important in plant tissue culture condition, which also determines the success rate of the plant tissue culture. All explants are treated with an appropriate sterilizing agent to kill contaminating microbes present on their surface, right? This is called surface sterilization. An explant is the excised a piece of tissue or organ of plant used for culture, right? We always, explant surface sterilization. So about here, the definition of the explant. Surface sterilization procedure will depend mainly on the source and the type of tissue culture of explant, which will determine the contamination load and tolerance to the sterilizing agent. Okay, all the surface sterilizing chemicals cannot be used to all the plants. Again, mainly depends on what kind of plants are there Okay, how will come to know which particular surface sterilizing agent which is given a very satisfactory result? Again, trial and error method. Okay, the common sterilizing agents used for surface sterilization are calcium hypochlorite of concentration 9 to 10%, sodium hypochlorite that is 2%, mercuric chloride 0.1 to 1%, silver nitrate 1%, bromine water 1 to 2%, hydrogen peroxide 10 to 12%, and antibiotics of 4 to 5 mg per liter. Okay, these are some of the list of surface sterilizing agents. Among these, calcium are sodium hypochlorite and mercury chloride are the most commonly used with satisfactory results. Okay, I'll just again repeat also a list of surface sterilizing agents like calcium hypochlorite, sodium hypochlorite, mercury chloride, silver nitrate, bromine water, and some of the antibiotics. Okay, in all these list of surface sterilizing agents, most commonly used are calcium or sodium hypochlorite and this mercury chloride, which will be commonly used in the laboratory condition, which has given a very satisfactory result. Okay. Now, glassware washing is also very, very important because this also determines the success. I don't know, aseptic condition is very, very important. Sepsis, contamination, dust, any kind of infection should not be entertained in the tissue culture condition. Here, culture vessels or glass vessels and other labwares are generally soaked in a suitable non-toxic detergent solution overnight. Okay, then that will be washed with a suitable brush, thoroughly rinsed, cleaned with the tap water, and followed by a rinse with the distilled water and dried in a hotted oven. Okay, such type of glasswares must be used in the tissue culture condition. Now let us understand here preparation of the culture vessels. So while preparing, what type of glasswares we are going to use. Glass culture vessels are used regularly as they are cheaper, reusable, clear, and autoclavable. Okay, it is always better to use only borosilicate or Pyrex glasswares as the ordinary soda glass may be toxic to some tissue types. Culture vessels made of clear plastic are available for a variety of purposes. These vessels are generally pre-sterilized and disposable. That means only one time you can use some of the clear plastic wares. And these plastic vessels are very much costlier than glass vessels in the long run. That's why most of the case will avoid using the clear plastic culture vessels. Instead, we'll use glass culture vessels, which are very cheaper, reusable, and clear, and also they are autoclavable, and we can run for our long show of the plant tissue culture condition. Okay, in plant tissue culture, generally we can use test tubes or maybe a long necked conical flask, or we can use petri plates or petri dishes, or we can also use wide mouth culture bottle will be used. Most commonly, we are using in the tissue culture laboratory, that is wide mouth culture bottles, okay, especially for micropropagation work and even for the suspension culture. Okay, and even sometimes for suspension cultures, we use always the long neck culture flask, because here culture flask will be kept in the shaker in incubator. Okay, and if you are using test tubes, the test tubes mouth will be plugged with the cotton. Okay, and those cotton will be wrapped with the cheese cloth. But preparing such plugs on a larger scale may be time consuming and inconvenient. So nowadays, all those tissue cultured bottles and the test tubes that will be plugged with the screw caps. And those caps are actually made up of polypropylene, which is resistant to high temperature and pressure. And we can keep that particular plastic ware in the autoclave. It means these caps are autoclavable because they are made up of polypropylene. Okay, then explants are usually placed on the surface of a solid culture medium, but are sometimes placed on directly into a liquid medium when cell suspension cultures are desired. Okay, here you can make out the information about the culture media or culture medium. Culture media are generally composed of inorganic salts and a few organic nutrients, vitamins, and plant hormones, right? So to conclude here, the plant tissue cultures are generally initiated from multicellular tissue fragments called explants obtained from living plants, right? Explants may originate from a wide range of plant tissues such as leaf, stem, root, petiole, hypocotyl, then cotyledon, then embryo, or meristem, or even endosperm. Any part of the plant you take will be able to regenerate into entire plantlet. To name few, some of the culture medium, like White's medium is one of the earliest plant tissue culture medium. Okay, then MS medium, which is formulated by Murashid and Skrug, in short, we can say MS, is most widely used for many types of culture systems. Then B5 medium, developed by Gambarov for cell suspension and callus cultures. And at present, it's modified form used for protoplast culture. You know better what is mean by this protoplast, right? That is cell without the cell wall. It means a naked cell. We are using a protoplast in the tissue culture condition for the faster rate of regeneration. N6 medium formulated by Chu and used for cereal anther culture. Then we can see niched medium developed by niched and used for anther culture. So this is all about the list of the culture medium. Here you can see some of the most important chemical components of the nutrient medium or elements. All these 13 elements play a very important role in the tissue culture medium. Okay, all these elements will be supplied with the other chemicals in the tissue culture medium. Whereas oxygen, which is common cell component electron acceptor, then carbon, we are going to provide in the form of the carbon source, that is sucrose, common cellular component, and forms basic backbone of most biochemicals. And nitrogen play a very important role in the part of protein synthesis, then vitamins, amino acids, and coenzymes. Okay, then sulfur, part of some amino acids and some coenzymes. Potassium, which play a very important role in principal inorganic cations. Then magnesium, important coenzyme factor and part of chlorophyll molecules. Then manganese, important cofactor. Then calcium, which play a very important role, which is one of the major constituent of cell wall and the enzyme cofactor. Okay, as you can see, the functions of all these chemicals, all these chemicals which play a very important role. You need to provide in a proper optimum concentration all these chemicals in the in vitro condition. If you do not provide in the optimum condition, then plantlets are unable to regenerate in the in vitro condition. Okay, iron, which is a part of cytochromes, then part of some vitamins, then copper, enzyme cofactor, zinc, molybdenum, again, they play a very important role as enzyme cofactor. Okay, all these chemicals will be supplied with the other chemicals. For example, here potassium will be supplied in the form of the potassium nitrate. Okay, then we have here iron will be supplied in the form of ferrous sulfate. Okay, then here we can have this particular calcium. Okay, calcium will be supplied in the form of calcium chloride, manganese sulfate, then sodium molybdate. Okay, like this, all these chemicals will be supplied with the other different kind of chemicals which play a very important role for the growth and development of the plants. Okay, then finally coming to the greenhouse condition. I have already discussed with you about this greenhouse condition in detail in the previous slides. Let me recall this greenhouse here. The greenhouse facility is required to grow plants and to acclimatize in vitro raised plantlets. Okay, so what is here acclimatization? In this particular acclimatization, we are transferring the in vitro tissue cultured raised plantlets to the specific culture regimes aimed at making them capable of surviving the uncontrolled and harsher ex vitro environment, which is called hardening or acclimatization. Okay, once they survived in the greenhouse condition, they under the proper acclimatization, then that will be transferred to the field. Okay, While designing, the size and the facility inside the greenhouse vary with the requirement and depends upon the funds available with the laboratory. Okay, but while constructing the greenhouse condition, minimum facilities for maintaining humidity by fogging, misting, or fan and pad system, reduced light, cooling system for summers, and heating system for winters must be compulsory provided. Okay, and it would be desirable to have a potting room adjacent to this facility. It means we must have a 3 laboratory rooms. First one is the general laboratory, washing and preparation of the media area and storage of the glasswares. And next one is inoculation chamber or aseptic chamber or culture transfer room. And the third one is the culture room, or we can say incubation room. Okay. And next most important one is the, other than these 3 rooms, we need greenhouse condition. Okay. And next one is we need this particular potting room. Once we transfer from the greenhouse to the field condition, there must be a properly potting room over there, or we can transfer from the greenhouse condition, from the tissue culture room. When you transfer to the greenhouse condition, there only we must do the potting room. It means the in vitro cultured plantlets are first washed with the distilled water to remove all that particular media. Okay, all that agar, and once we remove the media, then that particular plant will be transferred to the small pots. Okay, that will be filled with the this vermiculture, or maybe we can also use over there some of the soil, soil, or we can also use so here the in vitro generated plants, which are transferred to the small pots, okay, with the that particular okay, along with the coca paste transferred. Then once they attain the stability and viability, then transferred to the field condition. Okay. Then coming to the factors affecting the tissue culture efficiency. You can see plant species, then genotype within the species, source of the culture tissue, age and health of the donor plant, nutrient medium, and some other light and temperature. Everything matters. Okay, based on all that, particular efficiency of the tissue culture plants will be, we can say that is successful or not. Here you can see some of the important questions and answers, like what is culture room. Hope you already understood this one. You can write by your own. You can write this answer also. This is the area where cultured plants are kept with restricted light, temperature, humidity, and style conditions. Then name the instrument used for dry heat sterilization. It's water oven. If they asked that steam under pressure, that is the autoclave. Then organ culture, you can define this as organ culture refers to the in vitro culture and maintenance of specific excised organ, primordial, whole or part of an organ, which undergoes differentiation to form a new plantlet. Then we can go through this one also. I have mentioned here the applications of transgenic plants. Okay, the question like this: list the applications of transgenic plants in agriculture. So in detail, I'm not going here. I'm just mentioned here the list. Okay, when in the exam they ask you this one for 10 marks, that time you need to elaborate each and every applications. Okay, first one is pest resistant transgenic plants, herbicide resistant transgenic plants, disease resistant transgenic plants. Then fourth one, transgenic plants resistant to antibiotic stress, transgenic plants for enrichment of nutrients, then hybrid production, synthetic seeds, transfer of NIF gene to eukaryote. So these are the eukaryotes. These are some of the applications of the transgenic plants in agriculture. If they ask this one for 10 marks, no, you must be compulsory able to explain on this particular 8 applications. Okay, so that's it. This is all about the laboratory organization and the techniques of plant tissue culture. I hope you have understood a little bit information about the laboratory organization and tissue culture techniques. I'm Dr. Pratibha KS, signing off for today. Stay tuned with me. I'll be back with some more videos. Thank you for watching this video.